start it up. Okay, that's playing through the wrong thing. That's great. We love the scuff. We love the scuff. Come on. Do I have to turn these on? Jesus Christ. Trying. Come on. Uh-huh. There we go. Alright, well. Hey! What's going on, Danny? We're back, we're back. We're gonna do cleaning a bit before you go to work. Yeah, that was me this morning. I was like, well, I want to make some art, but if I succeed at making art but fail at doing all the other chores, one of these things will have a very much more longer lasting impact on my day and my week and everything. It's like putting streaming before chores is a good way to speed run the end of me streaming at all. Because if I let slip the veil of competence and streaming as a habit, it will all be for naught. So let's see here. Okay, so what we're doing today is we are. Well, it's weird because I don't have like a strong drive to get something. Andy, thank you, man. I'm sort of fighting the inner demons just a little bit today. There's always it's not so much like self-doubt. I don't know. I'm far too full of my own shit to have that. But it's a little bit of like, what's the point of it? You know, kind of a thing. If it's a you know, it's such a being an artist, even a semi-successful one, it's a Sisyphean task. Yes, the you know, the mythological Greek figure constantly pushing the boulder up a hill, only for it to just roll back down again, and then he has to push it up again. And you know, have I made myself a slave to some sort of algorithm that doesn't even give me the time of day? And the answer is yes, I have. But we're gonna be okay. Task initiation can be an absolute disc, if you will. Andy has nailed it right there. I am an inhibited person generally, and launching into my own stuff is very difficult unless I'm like drunk, for instance. And then I'll advocate for myself, probably overly so. But it helps when other people tell me what to do, and then that, you know, that's why I'm a good match with my wife, and I do well with the type of work that I do and with the clients that I have. I mentioned some ADHD, right? Yeah, I never got formally diagnosed. That's the impossible Sisyphean, whatever, catch-22 of like a mild neurodivergency is like every day you're just sort of like, well, advocating for my mental health just doesn't seem like it's the world's biggest priority today. I feel like I'm okay today. You know, and sometimes you fall off and it's hard. Anyway, by the time I got to my doctor and I was like, I need to ask you about a behavioral health recommendation. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can help you with that. Oh, it says here your insurance is running out in 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to be able to see you in that amount of time. And I said, okay, yeah, that tracks. After 600 milligrams of caffeine, things start working. So I am overly caffeinated as of right now. And what generally tends to happen is after I start the stream, I get a little bit of that panic mode set in, like shit starts breaking, and I just go into like autopilot, like my training just starts going. and then I feel good about it. So I don't feel as down like right now. It's cool to have people even like accompanying, and you know, it's like, hey fellas, what's going on? So I'm gonna lay it out as like an easy task today for myself. We're just gonna do like Chun Li figure studies. I'm just gonna copy other people's work, and but I'll arrange it nicely, and it'll look like a beautiful thing. If I do this right, if I fuck up, it's okay. It'll be educational. Do I have a Chun Li era I prefer? I do not, except like the original Street Fighter 2 is sort of still the GOAT for me. So let's explore together. Chun Li. And Chun Li, iconic, but also remade 1,000 times. You know, what are you gonna do? Just like take your pick. I remember, so for some people this is like sacrilege, but I remember sort of being suspicious when they were introducing the new fighters like Cammy and stuff. I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But Third Strike art was on a different level. That in MVC games had a very distinct Chun-Li variance. My variance is the orange suit versus the blue suit of Chun-Li when you had the double fighter. I'm not into the like super goonification era. Like, we can look at some of these. Do we need... Oh, here, let's make this big. Sorry. Sextro, yo, what's up? Trying to do it today. Trying to do it. So, I won't be drawing the gymfluencer Chun-Li. We won't be doing that. This is funny stuff. Well, I think what I'd prefer to do is actually just reference the straight up official game art, but just get my own take on it, or you know, do a diligent. So like this, I believe this is like straight game art, right? So this is fair game right here. I've got these other ones I pulled up, and these were just references from when I did the portrait. But if we look at these, Street Fighter 2, yeah, I'm not saying anything other than like I'm sort of on a Street Fighter 2 kick right now, because those aesthetics were very emblazoned into my brain when I was a kid. Beyond that, I don't have an agenda. I don't need to. There's all sorts of new characters. I couldn't tell you anything about them. Alpha is the onesie? Okay. For me, this is the outfit. This is basically the outfit. But a little variance, I don't mind at all. And right now, I'm just trying to look for, like, this looks like... Is this the onesie? The Alpha era, I don't know. These people have, like, children's faces. That's not my jam. This looks like a fun fandom. The hard part is, like, oh, where's the AI? How do we avoid that? I'm not into, I don't want to get too... This is cool. Like an actual statue. If that's what it is. Or a 3D model. We know this isn't AI because AI can't do bootlaces or stitching. Yet. This looks cool. I like this vibe. Little sexy-ish. Those hands need trouble. Or need help, but... I probably have more than enough to get some things happening here. This is where we get into, like, probably some of this might be AI. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But it's like when they have the belly button on the clothes, I don't know, man. I don't see how that wouldn't be AI. That's it's tricky stuff. The Chun Li, the classic costume, but with less slooty. We don't judge. We don't judge the. You know, but I don't need to do the. Go here with it. Like, it's been done a trillion times, and for right now, I'm just gonna study some of this stuff. Here's some interesting looking game arts. This is cool looking. I actually like this because it sort of almost explains what's behind this stance. This is such a peculiar... In the original Street Fighter, all of their poses, it looks like they're just sort of bunched up and like every single muscle is flexing at the same time. Udon is the comic publisher if you want to look at Chun Li official comic art designs too. If we get stuck, I'm down to actually pull up the Street Fighter cartoon movie and just reference some of that. And I don't know, we might do a few different... My goal is to just spend the next 2 hours drawing a few full-body Chun Li poses from reference. This is like easy mode. Or it should be. Otherwise, it's embarrassment mode. Here's some rake. Surprised it took us this long to find some rake. Some tasteful rake art right there. Rake the goat. All this is good stuff. Okay. Well, I think we have enough. Chun Li refs. Okay, so we have more than enough to pull from. And some of these are like super small, right? Like this is like a squashed, shitty pixelated reference. But that's actually good because it prevents me from being too literal and like I'm not trying to like Xerox what I see. If I Xerox this, we get a bunch of pixels. Can't do that. We have to use our brain to sort of fill it in. And yeah, that sort of like makes our brain act like a generative AI, but to a certain extent, some of that is the creative process. So we're going to not using generative AI, but using our brain to fill in the gaps of our references. There are patterns that we have learned as artists. The problem is the machines have now learned these as well. And that's the problem. They've done it at a scale that it's hard to keep up with. All right, still not going down without a fight. And anyway, human audiences prefer the human touch so far. So there's hope. So let's not go quietly. Okay, so I've been interested in doing some experimenting with Comic Studio Pro. I'm not doing that today. That's like another layer of like, it's hard enough for me just to like sit down and like hit the stream button. So this is about as good as I'm willing to give a shot to it. All right, and I don't actually want to do this portrait because I just did a portrait, but just as an example, like this, if I did one, it might be like this. Okay. Can I? Maybe this one. Maybe this one. This one's tough. I don't like the symmetrical ones. Those are difficult as hell. This one's fun. It's dynamic. One of my lesser favorite costume designs for her, but I will... I think I can use this for a good reference. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have a copy of it down here and then a copy up here so I can look at it a little bit more, like, vertically aligned. A little more... it's not obvious, but, like, there's a lot of distortion across a surface when you're working at certain scales. So if I do it at, if I arrange them vertically, it's easier for me to reference them. Dude. Homie. Sorry, I'm fighting with my computer. Okay. Alright, let's see how far we get before I start having heart palpitations from having way too much coffee. I had like 3 Nespressos, so getting a little bit of that flop sweat. But I've had some food, and I did my exercising today and stuff like that. I cleaned the whole fucking house. I think my mind is clear. My conscience is clear. Kids are at school. I don't have to pick them up today. It's gonna be good. I like to create a white layer that goes on the bottom, and then I put it in a folder to prevent me from drawing on the bottom canvas, because Painter is a weird program that doesn't allow you to not to turn off the ability to draw on the bottom canvas. And I want everything to be on its own layer. Yeah, there is better costume designs. What I'm interested in doing is like showing a little bit of like evolution over time for the Chun Li character, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have, so this is like a figure drawing session. There's like a lesson here, right? Oop, that's a weird setting. It's kind of okay, but hold on. That was I prefer a little bit more. Yeah, here we go. We should see if I can do this without over-reliance on the undo button. Let's try to do that. All right. Okay, so the undo button is over here now. Little bit of a handicap. Forced me to be methodical about it. Let's test out these strokes now. All right, these are a little bit better. Delete that. Okay. So this is our like line of action. She's standing, so it's like not a lot of action, or you'd think so, but in like a muscular body, there's always shit going on. Let's get some head. We've got the chest sort of pointing up, and this way, the head pointing down in this way. And then the pelvis is sort of almost tilted towards camera. Let me make sure that I don't have... Doesn't look like I've got Google Drive activated. There's always some sort of weird shit going on in the background, but I think we're okay for right now. I missed my undo button. We're just gonna have to be brave. Okay, so these are basically the primitives I use, especially for like a female body. of like Chun Li's type. She's just sort of like weirdly petite and muscular at the same time. I don't have any rarely do I get to see them all lined up like a like on a height chart. So we don't have a lot of great reference for her exact proportions. Like how tall is she? Defining some of these forms a little bit more. Let's not get in the weeds. We need to do these legs first. This leg is bearing all the weight. I'm giving her long legs for obvious reasons. I probably didn't make them tall enough, but that's okay. Still look good as long as she doesn't look out of proportion. You can see this kind of curve on the outer hip leads to the curve on the inner knee, leads to the curve on the outer calf, leads to the curve on the ankle, curve to the outer ankle, and then all the way down. And you just get this like ping pong effect of the weight distribution. And then it goes back up the other way. There's always a muscle. You could use this to predict where a muscle's going to be, and it's always there. For every muscle, there's an opposite muscle on the other side of whatever form it is, basically balancing it out. And I think the fitness buffs in the audience will sort of understand, I think, that, you know, it's like, yeah, if you hurt your back, do some sit-ups, right? Because you are going to, like, if you think of your back, it's like, oh, I hurt my back, I'll go do some back exercises. And it's like, yes, do that. But also, you probably hurt your back because your abdominal muscles weren't strong enough. So exercise that, you know, and then you sort of like, well, you should just be exercising all of it is really what should be happening. And I'm not a great case of like, oh, I have great exercise habits at all. But when I do hurt my back, it's like, okay, I do yoga and some core work. And before I know it, like my back is not bothering me at all. Again, this is like me adding way too much detail to something that is like, we're not there yet with this stuff. But sometimes it's like not thinking about it is also a good idea. Like, operate by instinct. That doesn't look very good. Got a little out of shape. I'm just gonna do some hard erase. Yeah, this is all out of shape. Wow, what happened here? At least compared to the reference. Like, I don't think it's like bad anatomy, but so this is the tricky part. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's as obvious from the references, but her hip is angled like this here. I should have done this at the beginning. Just made clear where this stuff was, because it forces you to think. But the in the reference here, we have her knee higher than this knee, but this hip is lower than this hip, which means there's a significant bend going on here. But it's not very well drawn in the drawing itself. So we need to make sure we like account for that. Essentially, foreshortening is needed. So we're going to try and account for that here. I'm not even sure if I should rely too much on this drawing to help me find my way, but that's feeling a little bit better. It's just tricky because it's like her body is in the... It has this certain aesthetic that I'm not used to drawing either. So it's like, okay, I can't just autopilot my way through all this. Doesn't look that bad. Might need a little more help right there. A half walking, half standing kind of pose. Yeah, she's sort of picking up her leg. Oh, God, this is a terrible, terrible drawing I've done. She's supposed to be, like, if anything, I need to, like, crank the whole, This is not kosher for me, but just to sort of prove a point. Can I do this? I gotta do it this way. Rotate. Oh, come on. Free transform. Kind of more like this. You see what I mean? I would love to know if she was originally standing with the right leg behind the left, and then the artist would change it by the editorial. It's definitely official promo art. I mean, maybe. It's not... Like, I don't think it's super problematic. I just don't think I did a good job of getting it started very accurately. I'm being surprised by a lot of the artistic choices here. And... it's like I'm like drawing her legs thicker here than they are here in the drawing. And I'm like, well, why did I do that? I'm like, doesn't it... We sort of bias Chun Li to having like super thick thighs, don't we? And now the question is like, am I drawing my own drawing of this, or am I drawing like the drawing? Her left leg should look more bent. Let me flop this and just see what I think. I'll probably want to throw up. Oh, that doesn't look that bad. No, I think of what I'm going to do is, best fix here is that when I tighten up her head, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Even out those proportions. And then just sort of make her a little bit taller right here. But I don't think she's suffering here. She's not in any pain the way I've drawn her. But it's okay. We're learning. We're learning on the fly. I might zoom out a little bit more though. Okay, make some decisions. We've got that arm pointed that way and then coming back. And this arm is pointed towards us and then going back. Big thickness happening here. Drawing without the reliance of the undo button is activating all of my brain. It's a useful thing, the undo button, but it can be a procedural crutch. You can't help but wonder, it's like, wouldn't I draw like 10 times faster if I wasn't hitting the undo button 10 times for every stroke? I think it's normal, like, if you're drawing from the imagination to, like, you know, you have to have, like, some second guessing. But here I've got a clear reference. It's like, I shouldn't be overly reliant on an undo button. That said, it's like, some of this arm anatomy that I'm drawing, I'm a little dubious about what's going on here. Like the, like, I'm gonna make a little bit more of a clear choice. Like, I don't need... Yeah, okay, so changing the direction of this so that the elbow is pointed away from camera and then the forearm is coming towards camera, as opposed to what's depicted here. It just looks like the artist just didn't make a decision. Andy, I do kind of get what you mean. Like, when I see like choices that are made artistically that sort of run against my intuition, it's sort of, I wonder if, like, okay, well, was this sort of Frankenstein from multiple references? Like, where's the like, how come this part is lacking cohesion, but these other parts look good, you know? Sometimes it's just like a vibe you get when you look at like an artist's work, and you're just sort of like, that looks a little... It's not like suspect in like, oh, I don't think they did it, I think it's AI. It's like suspect in that it's like, it feels like conflicting choices were made. Make that top of that head bigger. Feeling like I'm losing some of this fun scale. Trying to bring some of that back. Upper body feels too straight. This art is 20 years old? Yeah, I know. It feels like it's like the new stuff, and it's not. I'm gonna give her some vague slits for eyes right now. Vague wedge. Kind of feels like I fucked up her face now. Need to let's erase into that a bit. Again, it's like the proportions that this artist has laid out are very... Like, I tend to draw, like, tall faces. This face looks a little wide. A little childlike. looks a little close. Could have been edited fit on box art in a specific place. Yeah, like, oh, we need there to be negative space in that one section where you have her foot. So move the foot somewhere. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's going to throw off the dynamics of the whole pose. But it's like, that's the job. Like marketing says you have to, so you have to. Or whatever. They definitely gave her a bosom here. Shit. Definitely seeing all sorts of little fuck-ups that I've done. I don't like correcting as I go, but when you make these many mistakes, you kind of have to. Correcting as I go, as opposed to correcting it the very second I made it with the undo button. But it's okay. It's my first drawing in a few days. We'll warm up a little. Everybody, save your work. Whatever you're working on. Even if it's not worth saving. Let me move this out of the way. Doesn't look that bad. Some bosom happening here. Okay, I think what might be smart of me to do now is to sort of like put away the reference a little and just sort of complete it the way I would. Fucking, I'm bringing back the undo button. I need my pacifier. Okay. No, that's really not bad. You just can't tell that she's wearing pants. We need to fix that. Oh, we gotta set a timer. Okay, hey Siri. Set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, counting down.
Okay, cool. I've been streaming 40 minutes and I've got like half a sketch done. And we can't just be moving at a snail's pace this whole stream. This needs to be one of many. So I can go about until about 2:30 maybe. Anything past that, and I'm living dangerously a little. In danger of living dangerously. I'll switch it over to a new playlist after this sketch is done. And I'm not finishing this like with line art. It's just going to be like, this is the last pass on this, and we'll move on to a different ref. Tricky. I can admit that even as an artist that's studied female anatomy, like in a academic, like figure drawing classroom setting and all that stuff, the range and like the poses you get, they're not that educational for like as being applied to like something like this. Like it's good but not great. Half the problem is like models can't hold strong poses for long periods of time so as to be educationally significant. The Olympics are the best sources for this stuff. Yes, I agree. 10 points to Andy for the truth. And the I don't think it's any secret. I've been talking about it on the Discord, but I've been watching a lot of like bodybuilding YouTube and stuff like that. And part of it is just like I'm on a little bit of a health kick. I say that so ironically because I'm like constantly drinking and you know, taking risks with my health. But what I have done is I don't finish my children's plate of spaghetti anymore, and I'm avoiding unnecessary, you know, high glucose spiking, whatever, the insulin spiking carbs like mashed potatoes and shit like that. So, and it's been much better for me. Oh, and beer. Like I stopped drinking beer. I'm onto the hard stuff now. Much as I love beer, it's pause a YouTube video. Yeah, I love using Olympics for ref. So and I constantly think of this and then forget it, but like if you want really good like aesthetic female body poses with like where you can see the anatomy, I usually go for the figure skating. Always very dynamic poses and extremely fit physiques from unconventional angles. Like the girl's getting tossed up in the air, flipping around, doing all sorts of shit. Like you'll never in an academic classroom find a model doing anything close to that. A lot of the female gymnasts, like the super famous ones, are they're just sort of in. It's like I wouldn't study anatomy by looking at like Michael Phelps's body because it's so weirdly disproportionate, even though it's like human anatomy and it, you know, it's very impressive. It's also just sort of like wrong academically. Simone Biles. Oh, okay. Simone Biles hitting a 7+ foot vertical is super heroic. It is super heroic, but like when we, no shade against Simone Biles, but there are archetypes in art that we strive for, and often we push the envelope. And Chun Li, I think, here is a good example of someone who it's like, all right, overly, you know, it's like, is this the muscle mommy aesthetic? And I think in Chun Li's case it is, but like that's, you know, and it's like I'm a normal guy with normal tastes and stuff, like, well, pretty normal taste, I'd like to think, but some of this pushes where I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, she was attractive till you pushed it that far, and I think it's like I'm forever grounded in a sort of sex sells sort of universe that it sort of prevents me from advocating for like really saying, yeah, go study. I don't know. Well, if it's your thing, there's something for you out there on the internet, but not my thing, and won't be overly represented here. Even here, I drew her arms super beefy, but I don't mind that. I don't mind like strong arms on a chick. So I think it's about where I don't like things is like, it's like she's got strong arms here, but you know, I'm gonna refrain from like popping out like the veins, you know, not so much the veins. And you know, I still want a bust on the lady and a booty. You know, we need these things. How much time I got left on this one? Ooh, 4 minutes? Holy shit. Cool, made some good progress. Do a little quick save. Marissa is the muscle mommy of Street Fighter now? Okay. Well, the challenge of sort of me interpreting, and this is sort of what I was hoping this would be, is like, because it's like, I don't have too much trouble drawing from reference, unless that reference is sort of skewed in an aesthetic that I have a problem wrapping my head around. And when I see it like this, like because I ran into this with some of like the Zelda aesthetic too. And I was like, okay, I can draw that, but that is a bad reference, and I don't like making bad drawings. So when I draw a bad drawing, I'm gonna try and make it better. Just by like default, you know, it'll probably end up looking better by the time I'm done with it. It's looking pretty good. Eastern influenced art is kind of fundamentally different from Western based art. Yeah. Kind of. But also sometimes, like, this kept coming up, was like, some of the original Mario art was like designed by Shigeru. Like, I know he's like the designer, but he's not like the artist of Mario, except sometimes in the very beginning, because they had such deadlines and the producers were so cheap that like, so like when we're talking about like editorial decisions and stuff like that, sometimes it comes down to it where it was like, yeah, they went with bad art. Like the fucking like Mega Man covers. We'll pull those up in a second, but like the original like Mega Mans are you're just like, what is going on here? Like, okay, yeah, I guess they didn't know that, like, this was going to be a sensation when they did it, but, like, homie, like, bad art. So it's like, if I had to draw, like, the bad Mega Man art covers, it's, like, super interesting challenge, because it's like, I want to honor the reference, but also the reference is terrible, and in no way represents Mega Man, right? Alright, right now I'm doing my little hack. Little illustrative hack, just getting into there, finding overlaps and points where I can sort of add more emphasis of black. Bringing out a sense of overlap. Any place I feel like it. Okay, that's time. Just gonna do a couple more little touchy touches. Okay, we're gonna do a quick diversion to check out the Mega Man art that I'm referencing, that I was talking about 2 seconds ago. Alright, and I like this. I think I'll do a little bit where I'll like tone in some of this stuff. Okay, Andy says, a lot of our Western art is based on techniques and concepts, based on the artistic concepts that survived Western civilization collapses and rebuildings over time. Most of that was sculptural until the European painters and all of that. Eastern art is less based on strict anatomy and gender for glorification. I feel like you can see that in the dynamism that's more of the focus of the Eastern art, as opposed to the strict realism that Western art tends to strive for. I don't know, man. Oh, yeah, it looks okay. It looks okay. It's, I think yeah, it does look good. Needs a little something, like, right there. Just need a little something right there. And, like, I don't mind, like, the sort of, like, underrepresented. There we go. That feels good. Feels like I can live with this. Let's move on from this. Because, like, part of me is, like, I'm going to come back later and fill in, like, I want the blue part here to be darker. Like, so we can just be very clear, like, what is skin and what is not. But yeah, this is good. It's good to go. And look, it's like, we referenced this pose. We did some figure drawing. Some of this was correction. Some of this was fixing as we go. I even did half of it without the damn undo button. That's a challenge. It's wild seeing how the ref is so many heads higher than yours. Yeah, some people get that memo and they just go way too far with it. And or like whatever. Like, here, my thing is, it's like, for me, it's like this. It's like, okay, if this arm has like this much meat, like, you know, you're Andy, check out these guns, you know, but it's like there has to be some like curve. Like if you're bending your elbow like that, there's curve up here, right? And then down here, the ref is like 7 foot tall. Yeah. So these people, not these people, but the like character designers as like a species of artist, I find myself at odds with, because they don't, they often don't. Okay, people like Andy, you get this. Like when you're a storyboard artist, you don't draw people 7 feet tall because they have to fit into normal sized rooms and touch normal sized doorknobs and interact with normal sized chairs and, you know, plates on tables and things like that. The mundane stuff that like we have to deal with in our like artistic day to day is the stuff that grounds us. But if you want a character to look like, we bring back Rake here. I mean, and this is a supreme piece of Rake art, and we love Rake. But this character is probably like 8 feet tall, right? Given the size of her head to the relation to the other parts of her body. Like 7 feet tall, right? And like, no way Chun Li is anything past what we had the whatever 5'7" or whatever. Was that the official? The So I was running into that all the time on like Apex. And part of it is also like personality. Like you don't design a character who's supposed to be like sassy and plucky. Like they did this in Apex where they're like, oh, this one character, like she's new and she's scrappy and like she's rebellious. And I'm like, okay, so, you know, I drew her short the entire time. They never provided a height sheet. And then later on, I find out she's one of the taller characters in the game. I'm like, this is absurd. Like, why? Like, I get, like, you have to have everybody overpowered and become, like, a Mary Sue character. But it's like, that's not how we make drawings interesting. You know? We need contrast, right? So it's like the taller you make Chun Li, the less impressive it is, like, the way her muscles are sort of standing. She just looks, like, overly muscled. Like, yeah, give her I don't know. I like the way this looks. So this is good. All right. We got one sketch down. That's pretty good. Pretty good. One good little sketchy down. All right. Let's see what else we can pull up. I like the idea of using one of these sculptural references. That's kind of cool. This is a great classic one. I'm not sure if that's game art. This doesn't look like game art at all. It looks like someone tried and did a good job on the face and then gave up on the rest of it. But it's kind of a cool look. And this has potential. I think if we take one of these, like, because for me, like, every single artistic decision here is wrong. It's not like it's wrong, but it's like I'm pretty sure this is official game art, and I'm pretty sure I'm incapable of drawing it exactly like this without tweaking things along the way. So let's try that. Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. I woke up today and I was getting my kids ready for school, and my son comes down and he's drawn all over his arms and like a little bit on his head too. He looked like Lil Wayne or Post Malone. It was pretty funny. Dad, I drew on myself. I was like, cool, you look awesome. One of those things I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think, but like, you're in preschool. It doesn't matter. So this is awesome. It's like, express yourself creatively. He's been asking about tattoos lately. He's like, do kid tattoos go under the skin with needles? And I'm like, no, they're on top of the skin. Adult tattoos go under the skin with needles? Yes, they do. And they're permanent? Yes. Trying to get in here. Just like a rough layout. What's going on here? And like this sketch I did of Chun Li last week, which was decently well received for non-Zelda content. I was happy enough with the public's reception to it. But it was made extra challenging by the sort of context of it being a portrait of her while she is fighting, and then done with like no reference, basically. No real reference, nothing direct. Uncultured swine wouldn't appreciate some Chun Li art. Yeah, but I feel that too, and I'm also sort of like, well, you know, I'm a little bit like going for the low-hanging fruit. I'll have to forgive myself. I don't really know what I'm doing, like, with, like... What am I doing with this whole fan art kick, other than... It's the, It's like... am I like a... I'm like a defiant, like, indigenous person holding up, you know, my... trying to secure a piece of dignity or something. Preserve the records of my peoples before the colonizing AI comes in and, you know, says, oh yeah, all this is ours now. It's mine now. We're the real artists. Push it to studios, tag the game, and publisher with socials with it. I'm kind of getting there a little bit. But Andy, I'll tell you something. I don't want to just go into, like, I like, it'd be cool if it is good, but from the video game projects I have worked on, like, I don't necessarily prefer that. And the layoffs going on in those sectors are far more significant than what's happening in, like, the storyboarding stuff. They see tons of AI trash, seeing a unique take. I get that it's refreshing, but, like, I have to just sort of be cautious. Part of this is sort of like, yeah, I want to flex and show that I can, like, give something, like, my own take on something that feels like it's akin to concept art. And that, you know, if you know, put in a position to make some artistic decisions, I can be an asset like that. But then on the other hand, I'm like, aren't I just sort of just... would that just be a lateral move? Aren't I just being, you know, again, like a behind-the-scenes guy, unable to really, like, take credit for stuff that ultimately benefits other people while they, you know, hand me a check and tell me to keep it down? But I do want people to, like, notice, but I don't want it to notice so that I can have employers that are sort of controlling and protective and like, it was sort of like, I could succeed in transitioning to, like, a video game artist only to fail in affecting any sort of meaningful change in my life. Unless you're doing your own thing, that's just the way it is now. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'll sort of draw what I want. I don't even know what I want, but, like, I want to have an audience for this stuff outside of my employers. You know what I mean? So if I go back to simply making my audience employers with money who... Because the issue is, it's like, I have good solutions for, like, a lot of these problems, but they don't really want my solutions. They want their solutions drawn well so that they can feel that they've made their decisions. And make your own IP. That's the literally only way. I agree. And yet I am not... I'm not a good creator of my own IPs. Not really. Not necessarily bad, but not necessarily good. I'm sort of good at seeing the problems in what other people are sort of making for themselves and then helping them fix it. This is looking pretty good so far. You have to have a sales funnel and marketing for it and monetize. I think that's art directing. Yeah. So I also don't want to do a job that I'm not just drawing all day. And a lot of art directing involves, it's like, because I've been put in a position where they're like, Max, you should get in directing, you should talk to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything other than draw my ass off. That's the part that I enjoy. If I take that away, I just have to deal with the stress of, it's like, probably make more money. Not necessarily though. I know a lot of directors who are struggling. And their relationships fall apart with their significant others, and if anything, it's like I'm a little bit more stable than a lot of my clients are. You have to sacrifice a lot to be successful in those areas. Mostly you have to sacrifice like your own personal time and a sense of self, and I don't need to do that. It's not that I feel I feel like a little bit like if I have success, that it's very tenuous right now. That it's like, okay, I still do get jobs, but for how long? Like, what can I really depend on coming my way if every client is using AI to become less and less reliant on artists, and that tech is improving every day? Okay. Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. You kind of know where I'm at, so I'm cynical as hell. I've been that way for a while, and also sort of like I'm weirdly grateful for what shred of career I have right now, when knowing how hard it is out there. Like I do get it. And so just last week I had it was like a simple job. Finally, it was for a cell phone company with like football players, talking about how cell phone company gives back to communities, and stuff like that. So we're here at this high school football game, blah blah blah. And I was really appreciative because it wasn't trying to like innovate and have a bunch of special effects and a bunch of shitty, it was going to be a real shoot with real people doing real things, and I loved it. I loved that there was no push to show people something they'd never seen before. It's sort of this like conceited, because the value of that now is nothing in this era of AI, where it's like it used to be, how do we create visual novelties so that people have, distinct brand perceptions that we can capitalize on. And now people are so desensitized to it all that like that kind of like visual stimulus. So this is a little off topic, but like I was just driving around today, and I was passing a billboard, and it's for that Elio movie. I guess I didn't even know it was a Pixar film. I can't believe Pixar films are just like sort of not really getting the intense press that we've historically seen them getting. In like historically. But I was looking at this billboard for Elio, and I had an epiphany. I was like, you know why I don't want to see that movie? Is because all the promotional advertisements look like AI. The Pixar aesthetic has been co-opted successfully by AI bros who now use AI Pixar aesthetic on every single, cynical YouTube thumbnail to such a degree that I have a repulsion to the Pixar aesthetic, even when it's from Pixar. I don't I can't be sure that the that the billboards are AI generated, but that's sort of the problem, isn't it? Is like, I'm like, I can't be sure that's not AI, therefore it's like, that just looks like AI, you know? It's like, who would want to... And I don't know, like, when people have anxiety when they look at something, they just come away with a negative opinion about it, whether or not it's like well-founded, because people don't know how to articulate what they don't like about a drawing, especially if it's like a technically well done drawing, or it looks like there's lots of effort into it, or it's high quality. But if they see something that's high quality but they don't like it and they don't know why, then they're not going to know what to do to like tell you like, oh, I don't like it for this reason. They're just going to not like it, you know? So like for me, trying to figure out like, what is it about this billboard and this aesthetic that like I don't like, but it's because it's basically the language of AI, through no fault of Pixar's own, because all they did was make awesome movies, mostly awesome movies, and then the AI bros just like rated their style. Same thing with like the Ghibli stuff. Like with the next Ghibli movie that comes out, like, am I gonna like it? Like, am I gonna like looking at it? The billboards for it are just gonna look like AI, even though they probably won't be AI. They're just gonna look like it. What an evil thing. Okay, yeah, send me Discord messages. To remind me also that I have a Discord and I should post things about it. Discord. Oh, it needs me to sign in. Great. Let me just do that while I'm live. That's totally join Max. Invite people. There's the thing. This is just me being in the proper habit of... I guess this is the real motivation of the streaming thing. Is separating myself from this era of non self-promotion, right? It's like, I can do lots of different things. I can do fan art, I can do this, I can do that, but it's like, what I wasn't doing before was telling anybody about it. And now that work is less busy for me, I am bored enough to say, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna self-promote and see what happens. Maybe nothing happens, and I go down, same as everybody else. You know, it's over for artists, etc., etc. But maybe I can set a good example via some amount of this self-promotion might result in young people bothering to pick up the pencil even if the job opportunities are gone for the next 10 years. And if nothing else, it can serve as a record of my attempt to scream into the void that my position on the thing. Meh, it's all about having a product, I think. Okay. Well, this is good. And Andy, what about this? Like, if I am cultivating an audience for my artistic take on popular IPs, am I not then decently... like right now, I've barely scratched the surface of getting traction on social media. But those who do see my art usually find it to be good, and it's well received, and it's like I don't get hate, you know, for my efforts, which is about as a universal endorsement as I suppose anybody can ask for these days. But if I can consistently get likes on my fan art, can I then turn that over into like, I'm done with fan art, now here's my IP, whatever it will be, and now like me on that and buy my merch and stuff like that. Like, that makes sense. Maybe my product is just my take on this, my take on that, you know? In the meanwhile, I just don't see any harm it's going to do, especially like given the example of companies to disrespect their own IP. Like, Disney wants to talk out both sides of its mouth, being like, we're suing Midjourney for copyright infringement, yet we're going to use AI as much as we can for these other means, you know? How is that? You know, no, feels like artists have no champions right now, other than, you know, the people who are actually suing and going to war against this stuff. But it's like, these are like David and Goliath stakes, right? And if I had a following like Carla Ortiz, maybe I could get my my hands in the fight. But you know what's interesting is, like, you know, that that like Have I Been Trained database that you know, they published or whatever, that was basically like a list of artists that had their work scraped and stuff like that. And of course it's like all the famous artists, Greg Rutowski and like Kim Jong-gi, and, you know, it's in some ways it's like a who's who of like artists, and I was not on this list, you know. And I was like, good, I'm glad I haven't been trained on. And then I was just realizing, it was like, I am virtually unknown despite my skill. Like, I get why I'm not on the list. No one knows. No one can see my art. I don't show it to anybody. I'm only drawing for money. And if people aren't paying me, then I'm not drawing anything, am I? And I'm like, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe it's a bad or a symbol. It's a sign that I could be or should be doing something differently. That looks awesome. I have no problem with AI just losing money. I agree. Well, I have a problem with AI, but like not in a like immediate, like I think there's a place like for AI. I don't like the way it unfortunately what it's being used as right now is like the ultimate artist replacement at every step along the way. And artists are just like a part of the problem, or a part of the pipeline. It's really just sort of going to take down everybody if it's not impeded on. Yeah, Disney has no problem with AI. Pretty much all of my clients are regularly using it, but they also do hire me to do storyboards because it doesn't do good continuity. So I'm like, okay. But I also noticed you're not hiring like designers the same way you used to, or, you know, you're finding places to wedge it in wherever you can. That displaces, you know, established artists. What's the more serious issue is that like the lower rungs on the ladder, the artistic ladder of like lower artistic like the art world having like a shrinking pie, right, and less steps on the ladder. Like I'm okay with storyboarding jobs went away, I would just do like a lesser kind of illustration step, but that step's gone right now, and I can't go up and I can't go down. So I'm on the only ladder. I'm hanging by like one hand by the only ladder rung that's left, and I'm like happy for the ladder rung, I guess, but also sort of like I need to get on a different ladder. I don't know what the fuck's going on right now, so it's a little tricky. It's like the ladder's on fire at the top and on fire at the bottom. You know, physical product that you control the pipeline for. I'm skeptical about like possible safe harbors like this. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, the only way forward with any kind of security. I can see that there are niches that will still be out there. And yeah, I just think I have to sort of like get a little bit more comfy being seen and possibly judged for work that I'm not getting paid for. So just as the first step, Also, Andy, it's like I'm not a finisher, like generally speaking. Like when I do my color artwork, that's literally like the only color stuff I've ever done is like that color Zelda stuff. I did some comic book work back in the day that I had to color, but like this is like, I mean, that was like 8 years ago, you know, with like modern stuff. Like no one ever asked me to color. I never have to. And now I'm challenging myself to like see like, how can I do this? How can I do this in a way that looks good, but it is also distinctly me? Like with this, I'm probably going to like put a bunch of shading on it and you know, rough shading, and then like use some color maps to get some cool color gradients on it and make it look like $1 trillion, and you know, hopefully get tens of likes on social media. Yeah, that does look good though. All that, one layer, nice. Okay, so just fill in this negative space, and then I think we can call it a day. Finishes product based. To be hosted. Your product. Bid boards are finished was perfect for that. Yeah, exactly. I've been having to refine my style for my store because the product is different from what I'm used to. Agreed, yeah. I think this is, for me right now, and I'm being like too slow about it, I think in some ways, but it's like, this is a little bit like a skunkworks sort of operation where I'm like, you know, when we're in between crazy deadlines, I might have an idea of like a new way of doing something. Like, let me just try and see if it pans out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Or if I like see a new technique, but I want to try a different angle on it, like, you know, I have to have my own artwork that I can apply it to. I think this has got to be the one. So this will be interesting. This, I like this pose. I think I can justify even cropping it at the bottom of the leg. You know, we can use it to fill this negative space. I can get like her one leg in here without feeling bad that I didn't get the other. It'll look good here, you know, so let's give it a shot. I've been, yeah, the, and Andy, I'm going to look at your Discord message later, but I appreciate your insight on the, you know, it's like, well, where do we jump to? Given all this strange shit going on in the world. I was thinking the other day about this, and it's like, I went from having real clients that paid real money for real art to sell real products to real audiences. And then like slowly, ever since like the crypto bros and like the NFTs and the bots and the AI, it's like now like every step along that way has been replaced. So it's like fake companies hiring fake artists to produce fake art, to advertise fake products to fake audiences. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't don't necessarily want to be any part of this anymore. And yet, like, this is like, it's nuts. It's like, this is not a, like, I'm like, oh, the emperor has no clothes, but like, also, like, the whole, like, nobody's wearing any, like, it's like, the invasion of the body snatchers or something like that. I don't know who's real anymore, right? The other day, just on my Instagram account for like the fan art stuff, someone was striking up a conversation. I'm like, oh, your art is amazing. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And they're like, blah, blah, blah. What do you do for work? And I'm like, oh, I'm a storyboarder. And then they're like, yeah, you should really get into NFTs. I can totally help you with that. And I'm like, oh, you fucking asshole. Because I don't want to give them any of my time of day, but it's like, I guess I can't trust. And this is like I don't really, like, maybe 1 in 1,000 interactions is actually like totally like bunko like that. But it's also sort of like they maximize in my brain where I'm like, I'm drawing, like, I try to monitor who likes my stuff, and I'm like, this person's a bot. I'm being liked by bots. I don't want fucking bots liking me. Like, most people are human who are like liking and sharing my stuff. But there are some bots out there. I'm like, you fuckers, like, don't look at my shit. You know, you're blocked. It's like I click on them, I see AI shit. I'm like, fuck you, AI, bro. You know, and I'm like, I should be more peaceful than this, but I'm like, it's like, peaceful to what? It's like, I'm not even sure if they're a real person, right? Why would someone who use AI to like have an online entity even bother to have an online entity if they could just have that online entity be an AI bot, right? It only makes more sense if you think about it. It's like, oh, I love AI art. And it's like, okay, well then you're probably an AI bot. Like, it's like, why make peace with that, you know? And he says, I've generally abandoned social media for anything real unless I'm talking to someone I already know. Yeah, so that's what I mean. I was like, I'm living dangerously, you know, put my heart out there for the bots. But I know there's some real humans out there still, and you know, I want to be a voice for hope. I don't know. We'll see. I may regret it all. I may regret it, but maybe not. Okay, let's try to. I'm gonna move this head a little bit out of the way, get a little bit more space. Okay. Okay. Keep doing what you fucking want to do. Well, that's me today. Is I wasn't booked. I got all my chores done, and I even exercised. And I'm like, you know what? Then it's time to fucking make some crazy art. One downside now is that, like, well, it's not a downside really, because the other option is to simply have no attention at all, which drives me nuts. But I'm becoming a little bit addicted to the attention, like you know, it's like you get likes on social media, and it's like you can't help. I can't help, but I like that attention. I like the affirmation. And in the absence of it, I don't. I'm a little unsettled, like, oh, I need to make new art so that people like my stuff again. I don't want them to forget about me. Some days it feels like this is like what I got going on. It's not really the case, but it's like certainly it's like, you know, my agent is the agencies out there are suffering. So it's like the people who normally just hook artists up with jobs are not doing well. So it's like, it's not like I can just call them up and say, yo, where's my job at? It's bad out there. So I just gotta try to, if I do this, it helps keep my skills sharp, I think. And it's like a social outlet too, right? So I can chat with you, get some steam out. Otherwise, I have to like rant about AI to my wife, and she fucking hates that. I don't know why. Yeah, no, but it's like imagine being married to me and like having to hear AI ranting. Yeah, it's like this is my forum. No one can tell me to shut up here. Okay, let's do a little save, and I need to set a timer for 10 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay. I would like the AI that powers SIRI to be a lot better though. This is like compared to what I see like ChatGPT do and stuff like that. This is the she who will not be mentioned is practically useless, and that's really frustrating to see AI implemented everywhere I don't want it to be and nowhere that I want it to be. Okay, let's not get too granular with these details. Still making a here, I've got to look up here instead. AI isn't made for me or any other consumer. Yeah. Well, it's like a fake product to sell to fake people for fake money. Is how I see it. Hey, Andy, I don't know if I've talked to you specifically about it before, but I know I've mentioned it before on the stream, but the way that like fake crypto money has it basically changed the market for like entertainment and like where entertainment money comes from. So for the longest time, like for a few years, a few years ago, the only way to get any money, like venture capital money for any kind of entertainment project, was to graft a whole like Web3 or metaverse or crypto skin to whatever it was. Like if you didn't have like some sort of like Web3 integration or metaverse presence planned or cryptography or NFT, like if you tried to release a game and like it didn't have like NFTs in it, like you couldn't even get money for it. And then as soon as you did grift like that stuff onto it, it's like the flow of money was endless. It was like a fire hose. People couldn't wait to throw money at you. All the incentives changed, and so the entertainment companies very quickly caught on that, hey, fake money spends about as quickly as the real money, and it's plentiful, and they don't even need a real product. You can basically just give them, it's like what's the scammer going to do with like a finished product? Like they don't even need it. They just need the hype, right? it's just as well for them to hype the project, get a bunch of money, and then like rug pull the project and then run away with the cash, as long as you're not holding the bag. Like if you know, because I was on a few crypto projects and shit like that, and it's like my agent was like, you got to pay up front to those people. You're gonna pay up front, and they were willing. They were like, here's 10 grand. You know, it was like it was nothing to them. And then I just bought a bunch of shit. Is this our new business model? Yeah. But like that became the business model. Was the grift became the business model. Well, I certainly don't feel bad about like scamming scammers. I mean, in every project I like try to learn, you know, and like, I don't know. Trying to do here. I think I've made this arm too short, but I kind of like seeing her a little bit more like in that sort of foreshortened realm. Like in this right now, the pose that I'm drawing, I'm trying to change it up a little bit, like this arm that's coming out to the side. Like maybe it's not so straight out to the side. Maybe it's like back more, right? Get a little bit more interest on it. It's like this foot is super high up, but maybe it can be even higher. Drawing a feet, like the shoe foot, is so hard for me though. I feel like I never do it right. I have like no confidence with it. So that'll be the final boss. Here's a rarely opted for moment where the artist could have gone for the panty shot and then didn't. This is a rare achievements in artistic restraint. And I prefer not to go for the goon when it's obvious, so we're gonna honor that choice here too. It's a little bit like right here. You see the way these cloths, like the wrap around her? It's sort of just straight across. Like I know it's tilted at an angle, but like in Z space, it's not clearly one or the other. So I think maybe here we just make a choice. Like it's definitely going in this direction away from camera. Giving her a very clear sense of like that part of her body is moved away. Yeah, looking decently good. We could grift and then actually make something. Throw a curveball. That's actually funny. Andy, I have everything at the disposal except the actual sort of good idea. Like, other than sort of like reskinning and sort of retooling something, whatever, sci-fi, like Lord of the Rings, except it's like sexy, you know, or something like that. Or Star Wars, except it's sexy, you know. Somebody, you weren't all aware of what I was talking about? What was I talking about? You have a story almost completely written out? Well, that's good. Do you want to show it to me? I'm not saying I'll endorse it, but and as long as you didn't have ChatGPT do it for you, I will. I would love to see it. And if you don't show it to me and you make it, I would love that too. You don't have to show it to me, but think about it. Oh, the AI NFT thing being as a linchpin for funding. Yes, it was. Yeah, sort of similar to like. So previous to that, the obvious grift was like the social grift. So it's like you had to implement how people could make it part of their, like, you had to be able to like show that you had an online social media presence for a product to be it was all about virality at the time. Do you remember that sort of like phenomenon that was so important in advertising? People wanted to know, like, what about this campaign was viral, had that sort of viral twist. If it had that kind of, if you could sell it with that angle, people were like, we're all ears. But they really only wanted to hear stuff like that. At least that was in like my advertising circles. Most of my niche, like my client base, are people who are like very well positioned and like known as like gurus of like knowing the kind of commercial concept and like story that really gets people saying, ooh, is this the content I've been waiting for all my life to like snap me out and make me a new person, you know, or whatever. And of course, you can't make things go viral, especially in advertising, when the first thing, the highest priority of like the person actually paying for the commercial is to put the logo first and foremost, like the first thing that you see. They're like, oh, we want to make a viral car commercial. And I'd always be like, then don't show your fucking logo in the first 3 seconds. Resist the urge to do what you always do and just like flash the Mercedes badge or whatever, because that just instantly shows that this is a commercial. They're like, oh, yeah. They're like, yeah, we still need the logo first. And it's like, okay, then all you've done is make a commercial. You haven't done anything different. Yeah. It's like sometimes you'll be scrolling or whatever, and you'll see something as like, whoa, is this something cool that I should be watching? But as soon as you see the logo, you're like, oh, it's an advertisement. You just scroll on, right? If they had just like played a little closer to the chest, like they might have fooled you a little bit longer. You might have been like, oh, what a clever brand. But established brands and companies, they're so what is it? Gun shy? Like gun? It's not gun shy. It's like they've got trigger finger. They have to like, you know, they're about to get that penetration, and then they just blow their load, and it's like, no. Pace yourself. It's almost like the people making those decisions are completely out of touch. It's true. And so the problem that I face now is knowing that that's the case. Either whether they be, you know, the higher ups at my own clients or whatever. People may somewhere along the line, the people who control my future as an artist, be it like end client or brands or whatever, they don't know. They're afraid to make a move based on the way the world is changing and the information, the technologies, and the way that audiences are switching things up. And it's like something needs to change. They don't know what it is. And so it's right now they're just in the, it's probably just easier to fire people right now. And that will feel like a big enough change. And so it's just like the layoffs and layoffs and layoffs. Layoffs at game companies, layoffs at tech companies. There is a reckoning to be had, though. The companies that are integrating AI are finding that that mentioning it doesn't test well with audiences, and that it's sort of like the less said the better. Knowing that essentially like artificial intelligence like overreach and like overpresence in our lives has resulted in not only people feeling like negative associations like just in general, but like they're having like some people are literally like, yeah, I just lost my job to AI. I don't want to be integrating it on my next product, you know, or my next purchase, right? Like this stuff just makes me mad. It doesn't make me. I want to do the opposite. It's like all that computer screen technology they put into cars. And like I've got that in my car, and I'm like, I don't prefer this to the old buttons. All this is sort of distraction, and then like over time it doesn't work very well. Kind of like my iPhone is old now and it doesn't work like it used to. Every update, it sort of starts to suck, right? It's like technology is not saving the day here. It's actually the source of this problem. So I think advertisers will eventually have... Oh, you sent me a story. Thank you. No one ever actually follows through and sends me shit. I'm going to read this. I like this. What genre is it? Is it? I know you've been working on like fantasy stuff. Is it like fantasy, sci-fi, anything? Well, also people are like, yeah, I've been working on a script, and then it's like, no, they haven't been working on a script at all. They have nothing to show for it, right? So like having anything to look at is kind of cool. So I'll look at that later, man. It's like a video game. Okay. It's comic, like sci-fi fantasy. It's basically taking a thing in another world. Realistic kind of take. Okay, interesting. Think of like in this original image. So Andy, I'll look at that for sure. Okay, in this original image, the artist has sort of like flubbed the gesture of this hand. This one back here. There we go. I think that's it. And he says lots of variation in groups and stuff. Okay, cool. Okay, so fighting factions and such. This is the kind of stuff where AI sucks at. Yes, this sort of composite of a procedural sort of generation. This at this point, it's not doing it yet. However, it's entirely possible that in the future, AI bros will just be like, well, let's study Max's old videos and just look at how he drew it and then train the AI on that. And that would be a possible way of getting over that hump. But yeah, agreed that currently AI tech doesn't do a great job of getting into... this kind of is like a sketchy yet authentic. Obviously the human touch is here. That's what this is. Problem solving and character building through visuals. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think that I'm trying to set a good example by them. So like Andy, when I get on, it's been years for me now. I mean, the last real project for me that was like a video game project was like the Apex stuff. But you know, they would give us usually it was just me on the project. Sometimes there would be another artist. But we would get very early preliminary like character art. And like day one, the smartest thing for me to do was just to do studies of the character art and just sort of get used to it, like get fluent with the design and see if I could feel the character through its sort of physicality. Like what can we learn about Chun Li just by looking at her body and the way she moves and her aesthetic decisions, you know? She theoretically picks out her own clothes, right? What can we say? What can we take as information to move forward with in a story based on these inputs? And that was always just the best place to start, was doing studies. And so, and doing studies is not something that's like it's not like it's a crazy secret, but it just makes sense to do it anyway. Even if I had all that knowledge or whatever, it still makes sense to do it. This looks pretty good. Random question, are you Boxer's brother? Yes, I am. Welcome, first-time chatter. I'm the Knight 314. Yes, Boxer is my IRL brother. Okay, word was I was supposed to catch your stream when you visited him a while ago. Glad I could catch your stream. Yeah. Well, I'm just doing artistic streams right now. I'm very nearly done with this stream. However, not quite. But what I'm going to be doing now is bringing some like tonality, some like design decision to some of this. Basically, I'll be putting in some pieces of tone that sort of like unify and separate these little sketches, and we'll have some interesting art at the end of it. It'll be a great series of Chun Li sketches that will be sure to go viral, right? Are you an artist? Like, you don't have to be, but generally, sort of that's the audience I'm seemingly able to pull together. This is like an artistic one. Okay, so let me show you guys something. Glad I could catch you. Had left before I could catch you. I sketch. Don't consider yourself an artist. Okay, but you hate AI art, right? Yes. You appreciate human artists, yes? Let's find the common ground here. All right, here we go. Yes. Okay. Very good. Correct. That is the correct answer. Okay. You appreciate all art in general. Very good. I am not super good at promoting. Okay. There you go. If you like the drawings I'm doing and you're curious to see what other ones I was doing, my thingies are up there, and you can look. And that's cool. Okay, real quick. So see how all this is essentially, it's like these are not tuned, or sorry, toned. I'm gonna get some value separation in there so that we can tell that, like, hey, she's not nude here. She is wearing a skin-tight bit of clothing. So this is good. So this is the fun and easy part. We just get to mess around. Just do a little speed fill, and a lot of artists opt to do this via like a lasso tool, and I totally get that. I'm not above a little lasso tool from time to time, but if I can, I'd like to demonstrate. I mean, I kind of think that like all the mileage on is potentially good as long as it's like not bad mileage, and the filling in is not bad mileage. When you fill stuff in by hand, you have an opportunity to make a decision about what is and is not positive and negative space. And if you don't just rush into it and, you know, say, oh, okay, well, everything, they'll just use the magic wand tool to select everything outside the character, and then everything inside the character is positive space and everything outside of it is negative space. That might be the right answer. It might actually be the wrong answer, depending on what your goals are. So consider going the long way and just having a think about it. I feel like I'm getting an art lesson refresher. Took it in high school, but was never good. One of my goals right now is to see if I can set an example for young artists, or even just people who appreciate art, that we can continue to make art in defiance of the evil empires that are working in concert to make our lives so depressing that that we lose all drive to be creative. I have to do this for the sake of my children that tell me, Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be an artist like you someday. Yeah. So, but like, you know, it's like we all sort of have to make our bets. Like, well, what is the best way to prep? Or I don't know, prep, but it's like, what's the proper response to everything that's going on with, like, I mean, specific, like, the world sucks anyway, but it's like at least being an artist, like, you know, we could express ourselves. These days, with the AI shit, it's just like, oh my god, what do we even do, right? Gotta make stories or products or both. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I forgot to draw the laces on her boots, and I think I kind of want to give it some quick facsimile. There we go. Cool. That's something for the Gooners right there, is it's like you can deprive a Gooner of their panty shot, but it's like you have to be humane and make sure you get the laces on the boots. Maybe it's the gooning audience is the salvation for artists. Sort of something about that. NSFW. That'll be the third and final incarnation of me on my art journey. Lol. Yeah, well, it's like there were times where I was like, I think my brother brought it up actually just in conversation, but my wife was there. And he's like, you could do NSFW. Of course, my brother was like, you could do NSFW art. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't really want to go that route. You know, it's like, I'm like a family guy. Also, it's like, I don't know. It's like it's my reputation. If I go down that route, it's a little tricky. And then, and my brother was like, all right, yeah, but you know, there's some people make a ton of money. And my wife was like, how much money? And I was like, okay, I guess we all have a price. So when my wife is ready to pimp me out, we'll go past the point of no return, I suppose, but we're not quite there yet. But like morally, like working in advertising and like for all the companies that I do work for, which are, you know, they sometimes very morally questionable decisions being made. It's like the concept of like prostituting myself is like not a foreign one. This is literally what I do. So there's no point in thinking I have any sort of like moral high ground of which to speak. Like, oh, I wouldn't deign to draw people having sex for money, but let me draw like, you know, I don't know, what's some terrible person doing something terrible, and you know, some multinational corporation, you know, like 10 years ago I did a commercial for like Northrop Grumman, and they're the people that like develop like the bombers, you know what I mean? It's like, or even worse, the Crypto Bros did plenty of those projects. You can Stepan Sejic stuff. Yes, I know. He's doing NSW, right? He still gets DC work. Okay, so yeah, and like Frank Cho, for instance, does NSFW. Not like, I don't know how explicit it is. Yeah, like well, for me, I guess I just sort of had this sense that my wife would be disappointed in me if I did, and then I guess she doesn't, at least as long as I'm getting paid. Have I ever done political cartoons? I've kind of done them, yeah. Not out of my own personal interest, but as a favor to a friend who was whom I owed a favor to. But yeah, it's like, apparently when it comes to Max compromising his morals, like, no price is too low for my wife. Like, she's ready to be like, oh yeah, he'll do it. Just sign that check over to me. And you know, I love her for it. The time may come, but it's like, that's the sort of stuff I probably wouldn't be advertising on my Instagram main or something. It's like wherever, it's like if commissions like that come in, it's probably going to be maybe something pseudonymic or, you know, I don't know. Want to find a way to find some deniability to there. God, look at this. This is like a nice page of studies. Sounds like your wife too. Yeah. I think if you have connections in the movie world or actual production world, taking unique stories to them is probably good because AI can't come up with good stories. It can copyright 30-second spots, but suck at long form. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. It's just like the powers that be are being poor stewards of their own economic futures. Like they've absolutely leveraged money in the short term with not a care of like the sustainability. Now you gotta bounce. No worries. Sorry, I gotta bounce. Nice to finally catch you and get your art and hard work. Good job. I'll catch you soon, man. All right. Yeah, no worries. I am the Knight. You were a follower of mine from way back. I've actually I recognize your thing. The ever elusive Twitch follower. Yep. I try to pay attention to this stuff because I don't want bots following me. So I'm like, who dis? But then again, I have so precious few followers. It's not like I can afford to start curating. Stepan Sejic needs to start following the old Maxi. That's what he needs. That's man. The day you went to Boxer's house was the day I followed because I wanted to catch you, but I was late and I guess you'd already left. That happens, man. My life is chaos. That's the real wild card. Is that I have no ability to decide what is going to happen on any given day. Like today, I figured I'd be booked. I probably am missing like emails right now. Nope. been a quiet day. This was the perfect day to do this, so I'm glad this is working out. Okay, so Andy, check this out. This is the max special. Later night. This is the max special. Is once you've done a super awesome sketch, I just sort of double up the sketch layer on top of itself, set it to like multiply mode or like overlay. And it kind of it sort of like, if the information was good, and generally like if it's like a solid process, what you end up with is this sort of like, who's that artist? Ashley Wood. Ashley Wood. No. Art. Drawing. Is it this one? No. Who's the Metal Gear Solid artist? I'm not saying this is not a one-to-one, but like the sketch aesthetic can be fucking awesome, you know? This sort of a sketchy finish. This is like dry brush technique and stuff like that. That frustratingly amazing bastard, yeah. I should do some studies of these. This looks like AI, but it might not be. But like, this looks legit. Love this. Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, the Eastern influence is super strong on the with like the Sumi E, the dry brush technique. It's like ink watercolor. I like that stuff. This isn't really quite the same aesthetic, but it's but the Eastern, yeah. Look how cool this is. You know, that's your niche. Get into shit like this. Did you ever play the original Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation? You know what I mean? The Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, yeah. You played that a ton? So I found out that one of my neighbors is a voice actor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Psycho Mantis from the original the PlayStation Metal Gear Solid." He's like, "Snake, you know, I'm controlling your mind." You know, it's like the like whatever, that crazy Psycho battle, and he did the voice, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." Consequence of living in LA is everybody's a pseudo celebrity. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you can see, so these are set to overlay. So just by doubling up the information in the sketch form, like the darker stuff gets darker, the lighter stuff got lighter, and it sort of had this clarifying sort of effect of the sketch with no, it still retains all the sketchiness of the sketch without any downside going on, or with less downside than upside, at least. Cool. Oop. So sometimes if I'm on like a storyboard project where they kind of need like a cinematic look but it's like so I end up adding like a lot of tone and lighting and shading. But they also sort of like need it to have a little bit of like a presentable clean. I'll reproduce like a variation on this technique in order to get something that feels very clean and presentable. It's like it always works. I think it's like right. So it's sort of tricky. When I look at this image, like it's this one that really grabs the eye first, and then the rest of the poses sort of work well and like kick around a little bit. But I have to be smart about how I'm laying this out. So we still want to make a composition out of this. Do you play with gradient maps on this stuff? Yes. Make that ghosted. I'm going to essentially, here I am like painting out some of these edges so that she's kicked back and she's like receding in the composition, right? It's pretty good studies, yeah. Essentially achieves the intent here. And now into this, I think it's fun if I like find a way to like add more tone. I mean, they look really good just cut out like this, I gotta be honest. But we can play with some of this stuff. Give it some atmosphere, so it's like maybe it feels a little more grounded. Sexter, welcome. I think they look pretty good. You know what I might do though is I think we need just a little bit more tone on this one. Maybe a tad more. Just a tad more. You're adding the lines on her legs. All I'm doing is adding a little bit more time. Oh, the lines on the side of her legs. Do you mean the that little stripe? Yeah, you're sort of right in that I forgot to do that. Yep, that is distinctive. I might have not noticed. There would have been others who might not have noticed either, but. This is why we need the audience participation. Compositionally, I don't know if it adds much, but it definitely is true to her character. And it looks like it goes all the way up. So we need to get that here. Okay. And guys, I'm realizing I need to get hopped into the shower, get cleaned up. Felt something was missing. Now you nailed it. But yeah, I don't want to greet my wife with a unwashed, flop sweat induced body, so I'm going to call it a stream. But this looks really great so far. Yeah, and then let's like the gradients map stuff. Well, let me just make sure my wife isn't texting me. Eh, nothing yet. Well, I mean, it's like, if not for her grace, none of this would be possible. You know, just something that feels like a little bit of like a dreamlike context. Right? It's on its own layer. I can turn this off if I have to. But like all these extraneous strokes and it's just more stuff that like helps add action and clarification that like, hey, this is not AI, you know? If AI doesn't do it, then like it's that's green light mode, right? Something here, like she already looked like she was like full of action, but now we can like really you can't help it but see it, right? She texted a bit ago to pick up the kids. Yeah. Yeah, it's like Hall Monitor Award. Some of my decision making here is like, where can I make contact points and associations that seem to push into the background what is in the background? And if I do that, does it look good? Does it make sense? What is the energy of the pose telling me that it wants? Where does the contrast fit? It adds some depth. It adds some motion and some emotion. It just gives the audience a little bit more of something to have a reaction to. This is maybe a little bit too much, but... It's already a thing I could see sell at FGC tourneys like hotcake. What is FGC? Simulate a shadow. There is a little bit of something here. Fighting game community. Ah. I mean, I could do like 20 pages of studies like this. I don't know, 40 pages of studies like this, and just compile them into a sketchbook, you know, and just like print it, right? And be like, oh, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's a fun idea. Some of this is a little... like, maybe I'm okay with some of this being a little airy. Here, a pencil. Capcom sponsors then 1 million prize. I almost like these a little more cut out like this. It's interesting. I want to put a little bit of a vignette, but you know, we don't just add information for the sake of adding information, right? It's like, what's it doing? What's the purpose, right? One step closer to Rule 34. Hot local grandpa, welcome. There was some debate earlier about the proper. Well, I think what we did was we commended the original artist on this sketch for their restraint in not going for the obvious panty shot when it was right there. You know, it's like the incredible. Yeah, no, it's like, how do you hold yourself back like that? You know, it's like Achilles is like, take it, it's yours, you know, but it's like, it's like you got to give that guy the one ring, okay? He'd have the strength, all right, to cast it into the fires of Mount Doom, all right? Isildur, he did not have the strength. He did not have the strength. You should tag 10/O Media in Twitter with this. One of the companies doing it, I'll tag them. Except I don't use Twitter, so no. Okay, so last thing I want to do, because I like the way this looks. This looks good. Last thing is we just do a little bit of due diligence and make sure we don't need a little crack. Make sure we don't need a little dodge and burn happening. I don't like an overly dodged and burned image at all. No one does. But you gotta do a little bit of making sure. That looks good. Do you show these studies to your clients? No, as far as none of my clients know that I do like fan art stuff. It's still pretty new, even on my own radar. So, so it isn't that literally none of them, but none of the ones that like I don't trust. No. So clients who know, you are the ones that I trust, and the clients that don't, I just haven't felt like being that vulnerable to them yet. It's like, here's my personal stuff, you know. Okay. So just for the sake of completeness, I want to see if I can do this in like 5 minutes. Let's bring this into... Oh, there's my wife calling. Okay, yeah, my wife is calling, so I must wrap this up now. So I'm going to bid everybody adieu. But the gradient map stuff will be evident when it's up, and all it's gonna do is tint it with color. It'll be cool. All right, so that's gonna be it. Let me do a little thumbnail study. So we all about thumbnails. My wife calling theoretically could have interrupted some of this stuff, so I don't even know if my audio is working right now. So my apologies if it isn't, but let's look at this. Oh man. Okay. Something like that. Okay, cool. All right. Still, I appreciate all the help and all the patronage and the support and everything else. It's today was theoretically a low day for me, and now it feels high again. I'm very happy for that. I hope everybody has a blessed, wonderful day, and I want everybody to get out there and crush it. When I started this, I thought today was gonna suck. It didn't end up sucking. It's because I gave it a chance. You gotta give a sucky day a chance to turn around and be less sucky. Okay. Match your pose. All right, we're done. Adios.